FITPC, Ford Smoking Pipes here. Been a while. I got the Mark Twain cob out. Got a little haunted bookshop in it. It's a VR to Mike Cainrod Piper about Faith Chat Friday. First 6 years of my life, my mom took me to church down here in Arkansas. Her dad was actually a preacher. He had died before I was born. Never met him. We went most every Sunday. I was young, so I could tell you that we went most Sundays and didn't remember missing. In the 7th year of my life, my mom passed away with cancer. And although I'd been to one funeral prior to that as a kid, I just vaguely remember showing up with my parents and then leaving. This one is stuck in my head. I did not understand why Mom was in the hospital that summer, all summer long, and I had to visit her, and sometimes I couldn't go in her room. My dad, he grew up in the church with Grandma and Grandpa Ford, but he wasn't a heavy church-going type. Didn't mean he didn't believe, but he just didn't go. And after we buried Mom, we really didn't go. At this point, somewhat bewildered and somewhat angry, there was a separation. I no longer went to church. And I couldn't figure out why she had to go. Fast forward a couple of years or so, I tried to go to Sunday school and stuff on a bus with some friends. And one Sunday, and we were pretty young, the youth pastor wasn't there, so we had to sit out in with the adults. Remain quiet and be polite and all that. Just happened to be a sermon on the 10 Commandments. Back in those days, preachers were still preachers. Hell and brimstone. Not as bad as generations before, mind you, but they still had it. Probably still should. But out of that sermon on the 10 Commandments, I come to realize that I had broken some of those commandments already, and what chance did I have? I'd already broken some of the rules. Not all of them, mind you, but at that age I didn't understand. And I never picked up the good news, the Gospels. All I knew was I'd messed up. And, that weighed on me. I didn't go much more. So, somewhere in junior high, I guess, they introduced Darwin's theory. And the textbook said, it just ain't true. And I remember feeling a relief when I read that, when they explained that out of the textbook. So that at that point made me think that I was released. You know, that's what they want you to think. That's the lie. The truth is, Darwin's theory was never proven, and he even admitted it in some papers. Now, I do not have the book and the page and all that written down to tell you. It was written in black and white, just like his theory was in the textbook. So we fast forward from that several years, and I mean up into the 30s, my 30s. I had avoided churches like the plague, felt uncomfortable around them, done all sorts of things, broke a few more of those commandments. I'd crashed a business, went to work, crashed a marriage, opened up another business, pretty much doing the same thing, recovery work, crashed it, and was about to lose another marriage. Fell flat on my face and said, I'm doing it all wrong, I can't get it right. The only thing that I could remember was there was a set of rules and codes to go by. And it had to be better than what I was doing, so I started reading. Didn't know how to pray. I started watching videos and so forth on spirituality of all kinds. Buddhists, shaman, Cherokee Indians, different faiths. None of them seemed 100% right. Of course, I knew of Christianity. My family, extended family, hadn't let me forget from growing up. And I just didn't know. Through a series of events at work, it was obvious that the pressure was on, and I won't go into great detail about it. It was an experience that some have and an experience that some don't. But it got my attention, and I started believing from what happened. And I started reading. I'm no theologian. I've listened to many of them. Listened to them explain a lot of things. Some of it made a lot of sense. Some of it just seemed like men bickering. But whenever I talk to people about my faith, they always ask me, how do you get around the fact that he'll let somebody die that hasn't done anything wrong? Or a young child, or this or that, any defense they can come up with. We live in a fallen world. Nothing was ever said that we would not die. The physical death is the price for sin and the fall in the garden. End of story. It is your choice to believe or not to believe. And through what I've experienced, I believe. I am not perfect. I need salvation. So, Cainrod, Mike, brother, I believe without reading all of it, from experience, from what I've seen, from the beauty of creation on. There's much more to that story, but you get the gist of it. And you've laid this out, and I shall not deny him in front of man. I know some of you don't agree, and that's your right. It's your God-given right, whether you want to accept it or not. You can choose to follow or not to. That's your decision. Thank you for listening. YTPC, y'all be safe. Old Ford signing out.